Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and we're back again and we're kicking it off. It is time for the March Against the Machines, March of Machines deck techs. Obviously I'm recording this way in advance of the set being released, so we haven't got the greatest set of cards. We haven't got all the new cards from the new sets. I'm doing this before, when the spoilers coming out. I'm trying to just hit some of the commanders that have already piqued my interest. And obviously, as usual, when I do these videos a little bit in advance, we'll be using MTG Goldfish instead of me going through MTGO. So bear with the video. But anyway, so today's one is the first card that caught my eye from the set. It is one of the Commander Legendary creatures. Obviously, I don't know if this is going to be a face card on the deck or it's going to be something else. But I figured it's just such a fun card. I wanted to do something on it early. So what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about Gimbal, Gremlin, Prodigy. It's not the best graphic in the world. I'll make it a little bit smaller so it's a little bit clearer. Hopefully you can still read that here on YouTube. Anyway, 2 green, blue and red for a 4/4 Gremlin Artificer. Like that to start with. And it's got a couple of abilities. Artifact creatures you control have trample. Yeah, okay, whatever. But at the beginning of your end step, create a 0/0 red Gremlin artifact creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of differently named artifact tokens you control. So there's only one way for me to go with this, and that is to work out how many different types of tokens we could get in these 3 colours, and how I could then make sure that I was getting lots and lots of these Gremlin guys. Because, even just the Gremlin coming to play, it makes it a 1/1. But if you've got, say, a treasure token, you get 2/2. If you've got a treasure token and a food token, you get 3/3. And so on and so forth. No, sorry, you don't. You get one, food token. Yeah, you've got to have tokens in play. I've got to learn. No, you count itself, so it is a different name once you get 3/3, 4/4, so on and so forth. I am doing it right. My brain is not quite as tired as I thought it was. So, how have I built the deck? Well, the deck itself, and just so we're clear, there is no other, this is the only March of the Machines card in here at the moment, or March of Machine, or whatever the set's called. I'll get it right eventually, but I'm doing this sort of like late in the evening after I've just finished streaming, so I want to start getting these out this week, so hey hum. Anyway, this is what the deck looks like, he says, trying to bring it up. There it is. Okay, so at the moment, and bear in mind, like I say, this is just purely cards that are already available on MTGO. There aren't any of the new cards in here apart from the Gimbal himself. So please bear that in mind. So the price at the moment, $436, 46.32 tickets. It's okay. I like to try and get the new ones under 50 tickets if I can. I ignore the monetary value, I have to say, because everything I do is on MTGO most of the time. So I went through it and I went, right, I need to make sure I'm making different types of artifact tokens, and I want to make sure at least I've got a couple of them when this happens. So let's start it off. Just remember, Gimbal's in the background over here. We've got Hangerback Walker to start off with. Not because it produces token, but because when it dies it gives you the Thopters, so that gives you one type of artifact token. Bird of Paradise, just to ramp us up a little bit. Ovier Pashi Sagecrafter produces servo tokens, so a different type of token that's an artifact. Voldaren Epicure, which I'm sure we've all seen in standard over the last year or so, or 2 years as it may be now. Get a blood token. We've got red in the deck, so Dockside is here. Obviously Dockside is one of the cards you can cut, but it's still quite reasonable for a ticket point of view. Monetary point of view, not so much, but a ticket point of view, yeah, it's reasonable. So, yeah, get your treasure tokens. Likewise, Prosperous Innkeeper gives us a treasure token when it comes into play, but it also means we get some life when other creatures come into play, so hence why it's here. Third Path Icon Classed is also in. It gives you a Colourless Soldier artifact creature token, so a different type of token. Don't forget, we want as many different types of tokens as we can get to make sure our Gremlins come in big, hence why it's here. I've chucked in Academy Manufacturer. Could be a controversial, but I think it's a good choice in this deck, because if we create one of the other types of non-creature tokens, we get one of each of them, which really does help when we're trying to trigger this at the end of the game. So probably one of the key cards. Architect of the Untamed is just really for the landfall side of it. We do get, if we can get the 8 energy somehow, we do get the 6/6 Beast Artifact Creature token. So again, it's a different type of token that's an artifact. So we get that in. Blood Servitor, just here so we can do the whole blood token when it enters the battlefield. Mere Propagator. You probably saw it in my Trek deck a while back. If not, go back and check the channel out, please. But this one, you know, pay 3, tap it, get a token that's a copy of my Propagator onto the battlefield. So it gives you a token that will then also treasure Gimbal. Now, when it's in play, it doesn't. But, you know, if we get the token off, it's good. Sevala Ice Shaper gives us an Icy Manalith token for 3 mana and helps us ramp up, and then we can do the top 4 spell things and cast one of them without paying its mana cost when we ramp up. Thopter Engineer comes into play with another Thopter token, just literally, but it also gives all our artifact creatures haste, which might be useful in the game later on. Tireless Tracker gives us a clue token when we play a land. Togo, Goblin Weaponsmith. You play a land, you get an equipment named the Rock. Again, it's another artifact token, so it will trigger Gimbal. Tuk the Explorer is put into the graveyard. If you get him killed off, you can go and find your 5/5 Goblin Golem artifact creature token named Tuk the Return to the battlefield. Adrex and Nev Twincasters is just so we can double up on the token generation. We've got a few effects that do something similar coming up. And it's here because we want to get as many tokens as we can at play. Solemn Sim, just to do the ramping side. Vital Splicer gives us a golem token, and we get to regenerate our golems. Likewise, Wing Splicer gives our golems flying, so it gives us a way of winning if we need to. Geology Enthusiast gives us a Power Stone. Again, another token, another artifact token, so another trigger. And it also helps us cast some of the artifact spells we have later in the deck. Or, you know, and then we've got Itchy Techic, Salvage Splicer. Comes into play, you get 3/3. Whenever an artifact's put in the graveyard, put a +1/+1 on Itchy, and put a +1/+1 on each golem you control. Again, probably expensive for what it does, but I figure it's worth playing to give us that golem, another way of getting a different, you know, golem creature. Wave Shifter, just so we get some Investigate twice, and you probably would evoke this early in the game instead of playing it late in the game, because 3 mana flyer, a 5 mana fire, 3/2 flyer ain't the greatest in the world, I promise you that. Broody-Clad. This is not the version I've got in my collection, but, you know, at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 blue Phyrexian Mirror artifact creature token. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So if you've got a load of food tokens, a load of treasure tokens, a load of clue tokens kicking around, you can turn them in all to 2/1, so it gives you a nice way to sort of like get some damage in. Markov comes in, the Enforcer comes in. There's no other real vampires in here. You can have it fight something if you need to, but whenever a creature dealt damage by Markov Enforcer this turn dies, create a blood token. So if you can fight something that's small and get a blood token that way, it helps with your things. Olivia's Attendants, whenever it deals damage, create that many blood tokens, and pay the one you can ping something. It's a nice little ping engine. Worm Coils here for the Death Touch and the Lifelink, but don't forget when it dies you get colourless worm artifact creature tokens that, yes, may have the same name. I'm not quite sure what names they are when they come out, but if they've got the same name, oh well, so be it. But it still gives us another way of triggering our wonderful little Grimball up here. Maul Splicer, just we've got a better way of giving all of our creature tokens, getting double creature tokens. 7 mana for 7 power creatures I can cope with. We are giving everything trample automatically. We're gimballed anyway, so that's irrelevant on there. I decided to put Titan of Industry in. I have no idea why. I just want to play something big and gribbly. This came in. And Trisk Avalius, an old school card, but it comes into play with 3 counters on it, and we can remove one from it to make a token. And that gives us another way of triggering it. The expected Planeswalkers are here. I suspect you're all expecting Oko because of the colours it's in. Forget the food token. Sahili the Gifted gives us another way of getting servo tokens. And Tamio Completed is really here because we want to try and hit the -7, and we do have a way of doing this coming up. And getting that legendary colour artifacts creature make spells cost less, tap it, draw a card. Again, it's a token, it's a legendary colours artifact, so it does trigger. The spells kept it fairly simple. Strike it rich to get the treasure. Cyclonic Rift to control the board. Kodoma's Reach to get some lands out. Prismari Command to do a bit of damage, get some treasures if we need it. or destroy an artifact that's annoying us. Big score, card draw, treasure tokens, unexpected windfalls the same. Venture forth just to go and find some lands if we need to, and then Blasphemous Act just to control the board, have a bit of more board wipe to go with our Cyclonic Rift. Remember the Power Stone tokens we were talking about? Well, yeah, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman are just here, but you can cast Battle Forged Axe, and this is a nice way of getting a token, because you get a token that's a copy that triggers. So, you know, hopefully you get the damage in with this one. Moving back up the other side, Ceremonial Knife gives us blood tokens when a creature deals damage. Soul Ring ramps. Underworld Cookbook, we could just discard a card and get a food token, which is lovely if you've got the manufacturer in play, as people probably know. Arcane Signet for the ramp. And Mech Titan Core. I figured this was just good for a laugh. Legendary, you could just sack some of the things off, sack some of the tokens off we don't need, get this into play, hit with a 10-10, and if it dies, you get to bring it back in. So, you know, you lose, you know, if it's treasures and clues and things, you'll lose them, but it's worth the thing. Thought Vessel, just so we've got no maximum hand size and a bit of ramp. Chromatic Lantern, so we can hit all the 3 colours we need. Skyclave Relic, you want to kick it. You want copies of those tokens. Get token copies, they trigger Gimbal, and they're indestructible, so it's really hard for your opponent to deal with them. Urabrask's Forge, stack your triggers in the right order. The sacrificing of the Phyrexian Horror goes on the stack, and then Gimbal trigger goes here, so you get the Gimbal trigger resolve first, you get the +1/+1, because it is an artifact creature horror, I think. Or is it? No, it's not. Whoops, my bad. Play it anyway, it's a great card. I thought it was an artifact, it's not. Might take this out when I build it properly, but it's actually, no one really deals with Urabrask Forge, and I've nearly won games with it recently until quite a while ago. Vilshruk Factories here, you get a Golem artifact creature token with haste with a number of charge counters on it. Again, it's just another way of getting a Golem and a bit of ramp. Can't believe I made such a boo-boo with this one. Sorry, this video has just gone pear-shaped. Helm of the Host, just so we can copy things. If you can put Helm of the Host on Gimbal, I think things get silly really quickly. And Bootlegger Stashes here, just so we can make some treasure tokens. I like this card. People do tend to destroy it, but you know, if you get a few treasures off it, it helps with the mana for the next turn. Moving on to the enchantments. Guild Artisan, just so we can get treasure tokens when something attacks, as long as we've got our commander in play. Hammer of Perforos gives all our creatures haste and lets us another way of making golem tokens we need to. Mirrodin Besiege gives us mere artifact creature tokens, which I don't think we've had before. I may be wrong, but I can't remember. But hey, it gives us a way of getting an artifact every turn. Overworld Mysteries, non-token creature you control dies, you get to investigate. That's fine, gives us a clue token. And we can sack, when we sack the clue tokens off, we get the humans, so yeah, not too bad. And obviously Parallel Lives is here. I did think about doubling Season, but I decided Parallel Lives would be enough for this deck. Double up the tokens we're getting, and it works really quite nicely with Adrix and Nev. Thopter Spy Network, just so we can get some card draw on the go with no artifact creatures deal damage. And then there's the usual selection of lands you'd expect to see: Breeding Pool, Cindergate, Cliffgate. I've put all the gates in that, you know, pick a colour. Command Tower. We've got Fabled Passage, Field of the Dead, Exotic Orchard. They're becoming a bit more standard for me now in multicolour decks. Gingerbread Cabin. Hopefully we'll have enough forests in play to get the whole food token on the go. Hall of Tagasin is not something you expect to see, but it does give us a Power Stone token if we need it for 4 mana. An Inventor's Fair lets us go and find one of the artifacts we need, if we need to do it that way. I mean, there's not that many artifacts, but you know, you might want to go and find your Bootlegger's Stash or your Helm of the Host. That's why it's here. Mirix is an interesting one from the Brothers' War. You pay 3, tap it, create a 1/1 colourless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token. So you know, different type of artifact creature that you can go and get and trigger everything else with. The rest of it's the expected ones: Reliquary Towers here, Temple of the False Gods here, so on and so forth. But that is my really quick take on Gimbal. We have got another one coming up later in the week, another card that I'm working on at the moment, so keep your eyes open for that one. Please, hopefully you've hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know which cards you'd like to see in here. Like I say, March stuff will be going into the deck at some stage, but at the moment this is just a starting point, and we'll see what else March brings us as the spoilers progress. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I say, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, And I'll see you soon. There's details of my stream, my Twitter, and everything else below. So, come give me a follow, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Cheers. Bye.